Thank you, Lord Mayor. With 44% of the city schools now having applied to operate deficit budgets for the current financial year, meaning they are planning to spend more this year than the authority is able to provide them with in terms of revenue funding, and a number of schools being in their third year in a row of having to operate with such a deficit budget, what is the local authority's plan for turning this perilous financial situation around for the city schools moving forward?
Thank you, Councillor Berman. The reasons for individual deficits will vary school by school. Pupil numbers, ALM pressures, grants not increasing at the same rate as the funding provided by the local authority, to name but three. Council officers are currently working with schools to respond to the financial pressures that individual schools are facing and provide support and financial advice. Due to the varied nature of our schools and the unique set of circumstances that each school finds itself in, the actions required by both the Council and by schools are numerous. Funding to schools through the delegated schools formula is primarily based on pupils' numbers, as per school funding regulations, and scope to intervene directly is limited. Following analysis work that has been undertaken, we will review and adjust the formula to provide a fair funding formula that reflects the needs of schools. The promotion of collaborative working between schools to improve school standards and seek efficiencies is progressing, as is work by the Council to harness the collective purchasing power of the 128 Cardiff schools. Expansion of specialist provision to alleviate sufficiency of specialist placements is accelerated, which will also help to alleviate ALN pressures that our mainstream schools are currently facing.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Berman.
Just as when we moved a motion on this topic and it was amended by the ruling group, I haven't really heard much in the way of a solution coming forward in the answer that you've given. And we're now in a situation where we're getting near to half of the city's schools operating deficit budgets, and schools having to accept the fact that year after year after year the situation is getting worse, and yet you don't seem to be offering any answers. Previously you indicated that it was something that perhaps Welsh Government or the UK Government would have to step in to solve. Well, you've now got a Labour Government in Westminster, you've got a Labour Government in Cardiff Bay, and yet the money is not coming forward and it's not filtering through the schools. So I'll ask you again, when are you going to come forward with a strategy to actually get us out of this situation?
Councillor Berman, I touched upon the many reasons for schools going into deficit. For many of our primary schools, it is linked to their funding, the link between funding and school numbers. That isn't an issue unique to Cardiff. It is a national issue due to the fall in birth rates. Clearly, so many of the costs of running the schools remain the same. Similarly, the grants for which can make up a significant portion of a school's budget have not increased at the same rate as that the local authority has increased their funding, and that is a point that we do take up with the Welsh Government and I believe should be looked at. I think their counter-argument is that they would put any money available, they would prefer to put it into the council's budget, but schools can be very dependent on that grant money. And obviously if that is not increasing at the same rate as staff salaries, and grant money is used to employ staff, then that does cause financial problems for schools. We are looking to work more collaboratively across our schools, but we are also putting in individual help to provide head teachers with budgeting support as well, because schools have had a lot of additional funding over the COVID period. Not all of that funding has been cut back by the heads and the governing bodies, and that's an issue we all need to take some responsibility for. Sorry, as Richard's there.
Thank you, Councillor.